Hey, what's up, guys? It's Akatsuki Akuma, aka the Horror Nerd, back at you again today with a horror movie review, big time review. Annabelle Comes Home. Now, I got invited to watch this a week in advance by DragonCon, which is the big con here in Atlanta, Georgia. Love you guys. Thank you for the tickets. And in a nutshell, just throwing it out there, this movie wasn't bad, but it wasn't great by any means. I'll break it down, and I'm not going to do too many spoilers, and this definitely won't be a long review. I always say that, but it's not going to be a long review. I'll do spoilers near the end, just a little light spoilers, just to give you specific examples of what I particularly liked about the film and what I didn't like, and just break down what I thought about those particular scenes. And this isn't a spoiler, we know this from the trailer. Ed and Lorraine's daughter, Judy Warren, is left at home with her babysitter and the babysitter's friend while they're out doing a paranormal investigation. And what actually ends up happening is the friend, for some reason, she's really obsessed with the Lorraine or the Warrens, and she finds her way into the shrine room where all the paranormal stuff is. And we all know Annabelle is the worst of the worst. She's got her own little glass box in the back of the room where that glass is actually made from church panes or something like that. It's been blessed two or three times by the priests and Lauren and Ed themselves. So, Annabelle's a pretty big deal. And this isn't spoiling anything. Daniela, who is the babysitter's friend, she ends up unleashing Annabelle into the house, and that triggers a whole slew of events. And yeah, it gets pretty crazy near the end, but in the very beginning, the first half of this movie is very, very boring. Okay, I won't say boring, but it's very slow paced. There's a lot of slow camera zooms over the shoulders. And Judy Warren will see something in the distance, and then she looks away, she looks back, and the scenes are just a little bit too drawn out, and it seems like it's just wasting time. I mean, there were jump scares in between all those slow camera pans and stuff like that, but honestly, they could have cut back on that, and it would have been a much better movie. Now, in the second part of this movie, it starts to pick up it starts to pick up a lot actually, and in the last I'll say last 20 minutes, things are going at 100 miles an hour. There's something happening upstairs, there's something happening in the room that Judy's sleeping in, and then there's something happening in the basement. It's just going insane, and that's actually what saved me to giving this review, this movie, a 6 out of 10. I'm giving you my score early. I gave it a 6 out of 10, but that first act, it was 3 out of 10, and you can gauge that's how bad it was to me. I was falling asleep at times. I didn't like it at all. All the actors did really good here. Madison Eisman's character, who she was playing the babysitter, and Daniela, her friend, that's obsessed with the Warrens. She did a great job, and Judy Warren actually did a really good job. If there's any standout performance, I mean, it's her. She didn't really go above and beyond, but she has the strongest performance in this, and she actually brings that character to life. Like, what kind of child? What would the child be like of Ed and Lorraine? They're a paranormal investigation couple. So how would that affect their child? And that's actually explored a lot in this movie. And I liked how she turned out. And I can't remember if she plays a part in any of the future movies, like the Conjuring movies. Maybe I'm just maybe I'm forgetting something. But is Judy in the future movies? It's been so long since I've seen The Conjuring or the first Annabelle, and I just cannot remember if she's a character in it, but I hope she is. Again, as I mentioned, there's a lot of slow pace in the very beginning, slow camera zooms over the shoulder, over the couch, and stuff like that, and then cheap jump scares here and there. But what I really didn't like is how much comedy they added in this. There's like a third of this film is like comedy, and that comes from one of the guy characters who has a crush on Madison Eisman, the babysitter's character, and he's just this very shy, nerdy guy, and everything he does is like funny. He's supposed to be funny, and I mean, it is, but I shouldn't be mixing so much comedy in with all this horror shit that's supposed to hit you, and that kind of took me out of it. I don't really like that. If you want to go for comedy and horror, it's gotta be just sprinkled in here and there. The Curse of La Llorona actually did it really well with their priests, and if they would have did something like that, maybe sprinkle it in here and there with the guy, I would have liked it a little bit more. Of course, there's a lot of horror movie tropes. We got a babysitter. She's supposed to be the hero, I guess, of the whole movie, and the babysitter trope is kind of a '90s thing. Laurie Strode did that the best, and we've kind of gotten out of that. So I mean, that's not something that intrigued me too much, but I mean, I went with it. And of course, there's a lot of characters doing stupid shit. It's like, oh, sitting in the audience point of view, you say don't do that, but the characters do it anyway, and then they ask, what's happening? Why is this happening? Well, you caused it, bitch. Excuse my language. Excuse my language. That's just usually how I talk, but I'm trying to calm it down for this movie review. But yeah, that's basically my general overview of the movie. I thought it was okay. It wasn't the great. It wasn't all that great in the beginning, but that second half made up for it. And with those two combined, it kind of gave me a run in the middle experience. That's why I'm at a 6 out of 10. It did help that Annabelle, it was a replica doll. DragonCon brought a replica doll out to our venue, and it was in the theater with us, and we got to take pictures with it after and all that. So that kind of the experience was a little bit better. So that's why I give it a 6 out of 10. I would have gave it a 5 out of 10 if that wasn't the case, but it was overall a great outing tonight. Now I'm gonna get into a few spoilers. So spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. If you don't want to be spoiled on anything, go ahead and turn the video off. Leave a like, leave a comment. Are you gonna go see this movie or whatever? But go ahead and switch off the video now, and I'm gonna talk about just a few scenes, not even a lot, just a few scenes that I enjoyed the most out of this. Now, like I said, the beginning is pretty slow, but there is one scene once Annabelle actually gets out of her glass box and she starts doing little weird things around the house. There is a scene where I'm not even going to explain the scene, but it involves a bride walking around in a circle, and then it involves Judy Warren watching her walk around in a circle. And that scene, it just put a lot of that was the right amount of tension. That's what I wish the movie kept on doing. Stuff like that. Put it in your face, let them marinate on it, and then just go full force with it. Oh my goodness, that scene was so good. Just the footsteps and uh just if you're gonna watch the movie, look out for that scene. I won't go into more detail just because I don't want to really do spoilers. This is a pre-screening, so you just gotta go see. Look for that part. A bride and Judy Warren. Another scene that I loved is when Madison Eisman's character, this is in the second act of the movie where shit is kind of going haywire. She starts coins to start showing up at her feet. They're rolling around the house and showing up at her feet, and you find out what the coins are for once you watch the movie. But she has a flashlight. She ends up trying to. There's two quarters just hovering in the air. And the quarters, just in general, they're supposed to be used for dead people's eyes to pay the ferryman, I think. The ferryman, who's this monster that takes souls or something like that. So all the dead bodies you see in this show or this movie has coins in their eyes. So she pans up. She sees these coins floating. They look like eye holes. She pans up, and the coins just disappear. And then her lights go out, and then something grabs the fuck out of her, and you see these things at the end of the hall, and that was legit creepy to me. Just the looks of the coins in their eyes, it just makes them look like they're glowing, and that was a true terror filled scene. I do like that. The only other scene that I really liked happens to Daniela. So Daniela is the Madison Eisman's friend who is obsessed with the Warrens, and she has a specific reason for being obsessed with the Warrens, but she's the one that unleashes this. She unleashes everything in the house. When in the trailer where she says, "What did you touch?" or Madison Eisman says, "What did you touch?" and then she's like sobbing and crying, and she says she touched everything, and she truly touched everything because oh, that's another thing I'm going to get to, but I'm just going to save that for later. So this particular scene involves Daniela's character. Sorry, it involves Daniela's character. She gets locked in the shrine room where all this paranormal stuff is, all the artifacts is, and there's a specific TV that we don't know really what it is, but it seems to be able to predict the future. Like if you look into it and your eyes are locked into it, you'll see yourself, and then you'll see like your future self and bad shit happens to you in the TV, and then it happens to you minutes later in real life. And that was a fucking great concept that I wish they expanded on, because there's this the last little bit of Daniela being involved with that scene. Something was supposed to happen to her where she like answered a phone, and then she just got bloodied up and she was screaming, and she was about to do that, but then something happens to stop her from it. And I wish they had a little bit more cojones to go ahead and do that. I really wish they went I wanted to see what was going to happen to her. So that was a cool scene. Look out for that if you go watch the movie. Now for things that I didn't like. This is kind of along the heavy spoiler territory, I guess. But the so she touched everything in the room, which awakened everything because Annabelle was out, and she pretty much is the most powerful demon there is in that house. Pretty much awakened everything. No, excuse me, everything in that room. So you got to see so many different monsters and creatures and myths and legends and paranormal stuff happen. And one of them was a freaking werewolf, and it was just really cheesy. Like if I believed all the other stuff, but a werewolf, Wolfman coming back, that was a little too much for me. That's when I said, okay, I have checked out on that one, sir. I didn't like that. And one last heavy spoiler. If you're still watching, I mean, you obviously don't care about spoilers. So Daniela's character, she ends up actually getting possessed, and she becomes like her skin is all different. It's like pale white, and she's just a totally different person. And then they snap her out of it eventually, but she's completely fine and smiling the next day and acting like nothing's happened. I wish she would have played that up a little bit more. I wish they would have expanded on that just a little bit. Give a little hint of something, like maybe her being possessed, and maybe at the end of the movie she's a little off, or she has some kind of tick in her, signifying that the possession is still alive in her somewhere but is laying dormant and it could possibly come back in the future. I wish they expanded a little bit more on that. Instead, she was just fine. She was like, oh, well, nothing happened. Then nothing happened really. I'm fine. Everything's all good. Peachy keen. But yeah, that's pretty much it. That is all the spoilers that I really want to go over. There are more to the story, but that's all that I really want to go over right now. So yeah, guys, that's what I thought of Annabelle Comes Home. I thought it was a decent movie. Not something I really go out and watch in theaters, but if you just want to watch a movie, like have a date night with your girlfriend, go watch a horror movie, this would this would tie you over until Stephen King's It Part 2 comes out, or Chucky comes out next week, I think. So this will, or not next week, but the week after, I think. So one of those two movies, this will hold you over till then. But anyway, guys, are you gonna see the movie? Have you seen the pre-screening, and what did you think of the movie? Let me know. I'm interested to see your opinions. Have you checked out on the Conjuring series altogether? Because the movies have just seemed to be going on and on and on with no real end in sight, and it's just kind of egging everything on. So I don't feel that way particularly, but I mean, it is getting a little repetitive at this point. But anyway, guys, this is Carrie 53421, aka Akatsuki Akuma, aka the Horror Nerd, out of here. Go ahead and follow my Instagram. Actually, I have a picture with Annabelle. Me and her got a photo op today. So if you want to see that, follow me at the.horror.nerd on Instagram, and then you'll see that. And maybe you'll leave a follow. You'll like my content. But anyway, guys, peace out. Motherfuckers. Bye.